Hey guys, and welcome back to Lost Gaming. Last time we had finished the field where the White Room was, and in the meantime, Black Rose had managed to track down some more information on a post that we saw on the message boards. Since the episode ran a little long, I decided to break this up into two. So now we are picking up and heading down into the dungeon. Kind of hoping that we don't run into more hell boxes. And of course, as soon as I say that, the first thing to come out of is another hell box. Mistral, murder everything. Oh boy. Oh boy. Off to a great start, everybody. Going great. Okay, got rid of you. You lizard thing. Crap, that was a lot more complicated than it needed to be. So, not off to the best start. Not a good way to start it when your two main damage dealers die almost immediately. See, why can't we just get some more of these guys? They're not that tough and go down pretty quick, and it's giving us some time to kinda get a little bit of SP regenerated. Die, you son of a bitch, die. Let's go ahead and fix that. And of course not. Cannot be used while dead. Kind of goes for a lot of things. Stay there and you die. So once again, not off to the best start. I think you're kind of starting to see what I'm talking about when I say this game can get a little unforgiving. I want to say this field, yeah, we're actually still a good little bit higher level than what this field is for, and this is not the easiest thing we've dealt with so far. This fight a little bit more manageable. So, definitely not my finest moment.
Bloody eggs!
But I feel like it was definitely a good reminder of how unforgiving this game can get very quickly. Honestly, as long as we don't run into any more hell boxes, I'll be okay with that. I really don't like them. The enemies like that, they are annoying till the very end of the game. Series. It's possible to make the wizards and the witches a little bit more tolerable and much more easy to bear. Those things just are always annoying. So we're not really coming in here much for treasures anymore, because the items getting in the treasure boxes aren't really that useful to us. I suppose I could pick up more just to have some spells to sell to make some quick, easy money. So I guess I might as well. Some more healing potions, healing drinks if we can, because I definitely made it a lot harder on myself by accidentally throwing those away and then not restocking. But as you kind of seen, I haven't really been in a situation where even having those would have been something that would have helped me. Because, I mean, most of the time through here, the enemies that I've been running into, or in the case of Black Rose, they hit hard enough that you don't even really have enough time to heal yourself up. It's just one of those things that it just happens so fast. Alright, as we can kind of see on the map, up there is a completely empty room. Probably something very important for story progression. So, for the time being, we're going to avoid it completely. I'm going to open up everything in here. That was extremely disappointing. And got statue. So with that opened, the only thing left to do is come check out this empty room.
Hey, here she is! Hello. Meg, what's the name of the area Alf went to? Forget about it. Huh? What do you mean by that? I just posted the keywords to that area on the board, but it seems to be dangerous. I'm sorry. Hey, wait! Stop! She's gone. But you heard what she said.
Yeah, the board.
So we've gotten through that, just to see her talking with a mysterious individual, and all of a sudden she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Could be very important for the story at some point. Let's check out here and let's see. And message deleted, just like our message. Surprise, surprise. And now we're seeing a bit more information on Orca. They're talking about Orca and Balmung as the descendants of Fianna. Very nice reference to Celtic mythology right there. And the One Sin event. This is really talked about in depth in some of the manga that goes along with the .hack universe. What it was is it was a dragon who was immune to all elements at all times. The only way that you could defeat it was when you hit it with an element for a brief moment, it would be vulnerable to the opposite element. Orca and Balmung were able to figure this out, and when Orca hit it with an element, Balmung struck and defeated it. That was where they earned their nickname, and why Balmung has wings. Just a good little bit of history. If you ever get the chance and you want to learn that more, check out .hack AI Busters is where I believe most of that information can be found. So we don't really have any information there to go on. And they're not going to let us go till we check our email. So Black Rose is saying the same thing we are, that this is very strange. Very interesting to see this one when literally just a few things down. It's this story. But anyway, now there's this one, which is a good bit more world building. So you see it, and actually this feels kind of like a real-world debate here. The person who invented the deadly fat flash that killed a couple of people was given the death penalty, and now there's a discussion to remove the death penalty portion from the law. So with nothing there, nothing on the board, so we'll log back in. Usually this is when we can see a little bit of a story trigger developed somewhere. If there's nothing here, and perhaps if we go back to Delta server, we can get something to trigger and move the game along. But that's a no. So if we log out again, do we have anything new yet? Yes, we do. New email. Got one from Helva. This is the deleted post. Got to go to Theta. Chosen hopeless nothingness. He said he saw a girl and a guy with a red wand playing tag. So, those are some pretty dark keywords too. And we've also got a message from Aura. Once again, I've had these translated before in the past, so I know what they're saying, but I'll leave it up here for just a little bit for anyone who this is their first experience with this, and let them see it for a little bit so maybe they can have the chance to figure it out for themselves. Okay, since I didn't realize how close this was going to get us to the end of the first disc, we're going to do something a little bit different instead of heading on to the next story beat. For those of you that are familiar with this series, you know what I'm talking about here, but for those of you who have not, every disc of the original .hack quadrilogy came with something called .hack liminality. It was a sort of side story that was going on at the exact same time as the events in the game, and there are hidden keywords throughout the entire portion of the storyline. And if you're paying close enough attention, you can find some of them. I've already done one kind of on my own, so we're not going to do the first one that's in Delta server. And that one, if anybody's playing along on their own, would be Delta Voluptuous or Remnant. But we are going to be going to a different one.
It might be there. The bastard that got Yasuhiko.
So you're gonna defeat it?
I don't know if I'm strong enough to do it.
You have to. I'm going with you. Don't even try to stop me.
Alright, well, that's a nice sentiment, Black Rose. We're not going there just yet. Let's see here. Who are our lowest leveled characters? Looks like it's Mia, Sanjuro, and Pyros.
Hark!
So we are just going to take a buffed out team. Also need to go to the potion store before we head out to do this. Of course. I still have no monies. help. Do that. That'll get us a good start into it. And with some luck while we're in here, we can pick up some decent stuff. Now, where I'm about to go is not necessary for the 100% completion and for the item completion quest. Rare items are not included in this, so you don't actually need to do this. However, since we've got some time and we can take care of it, why not? So we need to go to Theta Dog Dancing. Passionate. Try Pansy. Now you see this feels fairly strong, but it's not too tough. And there's the heroes music. It's been a while since we've heard that. Just because we can, let's take on see, they're not really that tough. So, and this is one that we've kind of already dealt with, and so I don't really need anything from them. So we'll open one more just to see if we ran into something different. And since we haven't, and if I don't hurry up and get us onto the dungeon, there's a good chance this episode will run very long. So let's go ahead and head on in here and do this special bonus dungeon. As you can see, so far it's a pretty easy, straightforward, and just simple dungeon layout. There's some branching paths, a little bit of different stuff, but we're going to do our usual thing of, at the very least, clearing out the dungeon. Almost exploded that chest instead of opening it. I think I mentioned this in another episode, but if you can, always make sure you take out Menhirs first. They have the ability to revive other monsters. That is a very dangerous combination if you get several high-powered monsters at once. a couple of menus. They can basically make it so that you are in a never-ending battle. And heaven forbid you run into one where you've got some health boxes or something else like that along with them, because then you are in real big trouble. Well, I kind of wanted to take a look for some of the stuff in treasure boxes. Looking at the time, I don't think that's a good idea. I can just do a little bit of grinding for things like that off camera. And see, there's what I was talking about. We're able to see it very clearly. And here's can revive each other. They throw that in with some monsters that can use some things like magic attacks. You can be in a pretty big mess pretty quick. So far we're not really running into anything too complicated through here. And in theory, if you know these keywords, you can come to it a lot sooner. And you can get a lot more mileage out of the items that you can get from these dungeons. But we don't really have much need for them. However, there is one very huge exception, and I suppose since we're nearing the end of Volume 1, and it ties into my strategy for going up against Skaith, thanks to my friend Hasher over on the .hack network Discord server. Skaith has a lot of abilities that are very annoying to deal with. And as I mentioned before, the stat that allows you to dodge and avoid status effects is magic evasion. The best item in this part of the game series for magic evasion is in one of the bonus fields that you can go on Delta server. I'm probably going to butcher the name when I say it, but it is called something like Kaguyazan. Apologies to anyone who is Japanese and listening to this if you're even out there. But regardless, it has 80 for that stat. The highest that you can get in infection. I'm going to be equipping it, even though it is, for pretty much all other intents and purposes, weaker than what I've probably already got on right now. It's just not all that useful to me. However, the ability to potentially dodge a lot of the status effects that he can throw at me more than makes up for it. You just want to be able to avoid all of those attacks as often as you possibly can. I want to take care of him before he has the chance to revive any more of these things. Because they're proving to be a lot more annoying than... Now, good thing, at least the good thing about these monsters, they don't have the speed some of the others do. So at least they're relatively easy to attack and get defeated. Things like the witches and the wizards move so much faster that they're just so annoying to deal with. Unless you can do like that and ram them into a wall. Good clear out. And I think you can guess what's in here. Now that's one of the rare items right there, the ceramic helm. However, you'll also note that I said one of. See, that's a really high-leveled helmet. It's got some good stats and lets you recover HP and SP with its skill. Really good. Kite can't use it, but still a really good item. However, when I first played through this game, I did not know about this, and when I took on this dungeon, all I got was the ceramic helm. Because I wasn't all that particularly interested in clearing dungeons like this. So, if you come over to the other side, to what looks like this little storage room, where we see a few more items, we can find something else. Not that. This, the Soul Blades. Piece of equipment that earlier on probably would have been pretty nice to have. You've got Skill Drain, which randomly will drain SP, Tiger Claws, can confuse enemies, and you've got Dark Dance. And overall, it's not a bad weapon. It's only a few points of damage lower overall for physical attack than what we've got. It's got some better accuracy by only 1 point, but as you can see, it drops our magic accuracy by a good bit, and it also drops our elemental abilities pretty much across the board. It's not that much lower, but the decrease for attack and all of that, it just makes it not as good as what we've got with the Hell's Gate. Now, if you want to find something really funny, in the field where you get the Kaguzan, or however it's pronounced, and apologies to any Japanese viewers, you get what's called the Rusty Nails. It has negative attack. It has really high accuracy, but it has a negative attack bonus. So, just throwing that out there. If you're interested in it, it's something that exists. Not my thing, because I've always been more of a melee character player than anything, but it's a thing that exists. I imagine it's really good to have once you get powered up to a high level, but you need to go back to earlier fields to get some drops from data drain from lower leveled enemies. But since this episode has run very long, we're going to call it for right now, and I will see you guys next time on Lost Gaming.